When we look at a landscape, we know where we're situated. Like, you always know that you're sitting on the ground or you're standing on the ground. And this is because of that, like, horizontal line, that horizon line, which, in perspective, the horizon line is always at eye level with you, the viewer, the audience of this image. This long, laterally moving, linear element. And what's really cool about this that I realized this week while talking to some of my students is that these horizontal lines hold so much information about perspective. I think increasing our awareness of horizontal features in a drawing can really increase the dimensionality of a drawing. We understand horizontal lines as something related to form. We have symmetry about us as humans that splits down the middle and creates horizontal relationships like your shoulders and hips. We still understand things like gravity and weight from a horizontal perspective, and I'll explain what I mean by this. In space, we often consider horizontal lines as flat. We consider them as like a surface or a tabletop or a floor and a ceiling. And I think we identify that flatness, that surface level quality of a flat plane as a space or as something structural, because we understand it to be the same thing that we rest on every day. It's the same thing that gravity takes us toward. Horizontal planes often feel like they're moving downwards. They really demand the orientation of the viewer. And you can see this just by putting one horizontal line straight across a blank piece of paper. If it's higher up on the piece of paper, you might feel like there's a larger object impending. Or if it's lower, you might feel like it is receding or going off the page. Most often, you're going to feel that way rather than say maybe that if it's higher up that it's going up out of the page, or that it's a smaller object entering the frame. If you put it in sequence, you then start to be able to play with that horizontal motion, that quality of a horizontal line. But in a static image, which is what we're talking about, so like the portrait I'm drawing today, horizontal lines tend to feel like they're being acted on by gravity. They tend to feel like they are entering our space and applying to our laws of physics. In something as small as a portrait, so that's a really small scale drawing, you're not looking at a big space, you're looking at just the head. It is good enough to say that a horizontal line is probably parallel with the portion of the horizon that you are looking at. Because we have the ability to imagine these horizontal lines, we can use this to imply the order of objects in our page. You can obscure parts of a horizontal line to change the shapes that are present in your image in a way that affects the order in which we perceive them. So if you break up a horizontal line or have two horizontal lines that are slightly skewed, they're going to feel like they're moving one way or another in space, whereas vertical lines tend to feel pretty flat and linear to us because we move and read space in a particular way visually. As we start to look at larger scale images like landscapes and big drawings with lots of subject matter, then you start needing more abstraction to try to resolve some of the perspectival issues that appear in our drawings. In today's drawing, I'm thinking about horizontal information present already in a portrait or in the anatomy of the face. Things like the zygomatic arch or the brow bone, and how that can turn and pivot the head in such a way that emotes or can orient me as a perceiver of this person. These small facets of a portrait can start to define the environment that the portrait exists within, even if it's just a blank wall behind our subject, or in my case, a series of plants and a window. The next time you start a portrait or really start drawing anything, I wonder if there's a way you can consider horizontal information in a more complex manner than just as a measuring tool or as a facet of structure in our world? Is it more than just the line of a surface or the edge of a table? Can you notice where horizontal lines might get broken, or where horizontal lines might really seem like they're doing something that they're not? One image I'm thinking of in particular is this nice little painting by Morandi where the back of the table that these objects are sitting on is actually not in line at all. One side is higher than the other. What ways can we play with space while focusing on the horizontal information in our subject matter? I hope you're as intrigued by this drawing concept as I am. I love thinking about spatial information and the way that the things we perceive tell us how we fit into our environment and how we relate to other objects and people, and that's what I love about drawing. If you enjoyed this video, think about subscribing and dropping a like. It will help me out and you'll get notified when I go live. I stream a couple times a week and we talk about art and just have a really exciting time together. So I hope to see you soon, and thanks for coming by.